I hope to accomplish two goals. One is to help you understand how we use multiple variables to create a key in our data set. And two, to show you how sometimes we have to work with our data to clean it up, to prepare it for using a key. One of the databases that's related to the flights data is the weather data. This contains weather at various airports at various times of day. So I'm going to go ahead and read that in. And you can see by looking over the variable list that we have the airport origin. We have the identification of the day by day, month, and year. Also the time by hour. And then we have various weather variables, temperature, dew point, humidity, wind direction, and so forth. So if I think about what it might take in order to create a key that would match the flights data, well, certainly I need to be at the correct airport, so I'm going to put in origin. And then I'm going to need to have the day, so I need all three of these, year, month, and day, to identify the day. And then I also want to know the weather for a specific time. And I noticed in the weather data set, time is not done in minutes, but it is done by the hour. So I'm including hour. So those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variables should identify a specific hour at a specific airport. So let's go ahead and check to see if that's a good key. Let me create a check weather object and then see if we have all of these so that there's one and only one value. And the answer is no. We have here 3 duplicates that occurs: EWR, JFK, and LGA. That's Newark, John F. Kennedy International Airport, and LaGuardia. And I noticed that, interestingly enough, it's all the same hour where we have a duplication. We have a duplication for November 3, the first hour. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at these. I'm going to pull these out in the full data set to see if we can figure out what's going on. Let's open this window a little wider so we can see all of the variables here. All right, here we go. Well, we still don't see all. I need to pull it even wider still. Let's see if I can run this then. One more time. I'm really wanting you to see that time hour in there. Okay, here we go. Let's look this over. So here's this variable at the end called time hour that kind of combines the date with the hour, and we see it's November 3. Whereas the variables I was using before are up here at the beginning of the data set: origin, year, month, day, hour. If I look at this, I have the 11th month, 3rd day, 1st hour. And this one also is the 11th month, 3rd day, 1st hour. But this is 5 o'clock a.m. and this is 6 o'clock a.m. And the same thing is repeated for JFK and LaGuardia. I'm doing a little detective work, and I think I might be onto something here. Let's go ahead and look at these to see if we could combine origin and time hour, and if that would work, because I noticed that the time hour were different for those two. So let's go ahead and combine those and check that. Okay, yes, that would work. Okay, if I use time hour, because time hour, remember, also included the year. If I include that instead of the original thing that I included, that would work. But I'm still a little bit confused. And I'm confused because I had hour was a 1 for 2 different time hours. Let's just peek at just those variables. Okay, if I look at just those variables here, notice that hour looks like is supposed to represent different hours. 1 for 6 o'clock, 2 for 7, 3 for 8. But if you remember, I had 1 for 5 o'clock and 1 for 6 o'clock. Now I'm a little bit confused. It looks like hours supposed to be based upon consecutive readings. So let's do this. Let me pull out those variables. That's what I'm doing down here on line 837. And then let me view the data set for these variables. Okay, hour 1, 6 o'clock. Hour 2, 7 o'clock. And let's scroll down a little bit. Oh, wait a minute, here's something. Hour 1, 6 o'clock. Hour 0, 5 o'clock. So evidently, hour 0 being 5 o'clock, and right up above this, I see hour 23 is 4 in the morning. So it seems like there's a 24-hour cycle here, 0 through 23, with 0 being 5 o'clock and 1 being 6 o'clock. Well, if you remembered, we ended up, let me go ahead and filter this out again and take a look. We ended up here with 1 being 5 o'clock. So for those duplicates that we had, and we only had 3 duplicates, look at, we have 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 112, 112, 112. It's supposed to be 012. So what I've shown you here is something we often go through when we clean up data. We do some detective work and we find out there's a data entry error. That's what I have found here, a data entry error where 5 o'clock was supposed to be 0. Whenever I make changes to data that have been entered in from, say, spreadsheets or maybe surveys, I don't just overwrite the original data set. Part of reproducible research means that we need to keep each aspect of our data analysis project, and so I'm not going to just overwrite it. I'm going to create a new data set. So I've got one here that I've got called weather.rev for weather revised. So I'm going to load weather into weather revised. And the times are actually given in UTC, but they're shown in local time, so I'd have to adjust, and there's tools for doing that in the Tidyverse, but we're not going to take the time to do that. All we're going to do is we're going to set those UTC times to the time they should be in our data set, and that is 0. So I'm just directly setting those 3 to 0. Now let's go back to the first thing that I did. Well, actually before that, let's check those 3 airports. Okay, now I have the hour 012, 012, 012. Now I'm going to go back to the very first thing that I did right up here, way up here at the beginning, where I tried to filter by a multiple key, and I found out using that multiple key right up here on lines 805 through 811 that I had some values that were greater than 1. Now I'm going to go back with my revised data set here and try the same thing. Okay, here on line 871, I'm now using origin, year, month, day, and hour as a multiple variable primary key. And now let's see what we get. We get a tibble that has 0 rows in it. That's when I ask for greater than 1. So that means that every origin, year, month, day, hour combination, that particular combination only appears in one row, and therefore I can use that combination as a primary key for weather. Now I can link that up to the matching information in flights in order to make connections between those two databases. So we're good. All right, so that was a demonstration of using multiple keys and also a demonstration of what to do when you check your key, which you should always do, and you discover something is wrong.